All right, so let's give you a scenario. Battery's dead in your BMW. Can't get into it. Most of these older BMWs, E46, E39, E53, even E85, E83, so on, E90. Most of them have different keys, or maybe your key don't work, maybe your lock's messed up, or you can't get into the trunk. Whatever the case may be, we don't know. I'm going to show you today how to get in your BMW with only two certain tools. First thing you're going to need is a pair of jumper cables. That pretty much goes without saying, or a battery charger will work also. So we're going to need that. We're going to need a piece of wire, such as like this. It needs to be a little bit on the heavy side. This is, I don't know, what is this, 12 gauge probably? Maybe even 14. Needs to at least be that. So let's give a scenario here. Two different scenarios. One is you just need to jump your BMW. Maybe you have the hood open. You probably don't. If you're having problems getting unlocked, the hood probably isn't open. But just in case it is, I'll show you where the terminals are on these different cars. Okay, so on E53, on 6-cylinder and V8, there is a charge terminal up here. That's for the positive, obviously. On the negative, there is a terminal right here, and we're at the driver's side fender, right next to the oil filter housing. This guy right there, you clamp your jumper cables on those, so negative and positive. That's if the hood's open. But let's say if the hood's stuck shut, what are you gonna do then? So assuming your plastic skid plate is off, which it should be. If not, you're probably asking for a blown engine. You get a drip of that plastic skid plate and you can't see what's leaking or what's going on, and before you know it, you're running into a big problem. So what we're going to do, we're going to reach your arm up from under the driver's side. So E53, you don't have to jack it up. There's enough room to get up there and get to it. We're going to try to locate the alternator, which, you know, on E53, the alternator is right there. That is on the bottom of the engine. It makes this a little bit easier. So I'll try to get you down in there and show you. You can see right, where does it go here? Oh, this is actually unplugged. That's pretty sweet. There is a terminal that is on the front of the alternator. I plugged it back in. So we have the main plug, which is right there. This is the water-cooled alternator. Right down below it, I don't know if I get you in there or not. Right below it, you see that nut. And how this works is that nut should just be a plastic cap. It depends on if it's been taken off or not. But that is where you're going to want to put your jumper cable lead. Now, you obviously can't, probably more than likely can't reach the jumper cables themselves up in there. So what you're going to do, you're going to clamp your piece of wire in one side of your jumper cable. That's going to leave you a hot end. And you don't want to strip it back very far because you won't be hitting stuff when you're putting it up in there, right? That's going to give you a hot end to go up there and touch that up there. Now your negative, you could put that anywhere. You could clamp that just on any control arm underneath. You clamp it just damn near anywhere you want. That's metal. And once you touch this onto the alternator bolt, that's going to power the car up. Now that'll let you get in the car, give you enough power to unlock it or pop the hood, and then you could get the hood open or the hatch open. You can charge it correctly. So that was on V8 E53, so 4.4 liter. Now E46, which is what this is with M54, it has the terminal on the passenger side. So if you're going to go ahead and jump this, you need to go to the passenger side right there, and that's your positive. And then over here in this little box is your negative terminal. So that's how you charge it from under the hood. Now, I want to remind you, it's probably almost always best to charge a car from the rear, from the battery in the trunk or the battery in the hatch. However, that being said, we all know if you guys that have E70s or E53s, the battery is not that easy to get to. So a lot of guys do it up here. Now, On this car, you should already have the skid plate gone. If you don't, you guys know how I feel about that. This thing gets to dripping something, you won't see it, especially coolant. And before you know it, you're out of coolant and you're melting your engine down. If you have that off, you go on the driver's side, E46, you might have to jack it up a little bit. Depends on how long your arms are. And it's a little hard to see up here. The alternator is right here, right under the power steering box. So this one, you're going to have to be kind of double jointed. You can see right there is a terminal, but you can definitely reach in behind the expansion tank, reach in up there with your lead, touch it on there. If you have somebody else or your key fob in your other hand, then you can unlock the car and get in. And then of course, E39 with the 6-cylinder, you could do the same way as this car. You could reach up underneath there and do it. E39 or E38, so 540 or 740 is going to have the same, not the same, but a similar type alternator to the E53 we just showed you. It's basically the same way. Some of the, it depends on what year. I think it's pre-2001 540 and 740 had a different alternator, but it's the same premise. It's probably a good idea, even though you guys probably won't, go out and look at your car before you have the problem. Locate the terminal, so if you ever lock your car and you leave for a month or two, this is how this happens. Let's say you lock the car and you live in a different city, or the car's in storage over the winter. You click it locked and it sits there and the battery goes dead. Pretty much any BMW I've ever had, if it sits for more than a week, the battery's dead or really low. Just the way a BMW is. And most cars are like that. So be prepared for that. This is not that uncommon of a problem. I'll link here at the end of the video, somewhere up here, one of the corners, I have a video where to buy the $48 BMW batteries instead of spending $150, $200 on them. But that's it, guys. That's the charging points on these vehicles. You know, E90 is the same way. You could actually get to that from the driver's side from underneath, but you're going to have to pull that stupid, great big huge giant skid plate off, or at least let the front of it down, you know, so you can reach up underneath there and get to it. That's it, guys. That's how you unlock your keys or unlock your BMW with the dead battery. Thanks for watching.